They're practicing Red Bull Wololo maps. That's right. I've got State, I got Beasty, and I got Cauldron. Don't know why I squeaked my voice at the end there, as if I sat on my testicles. Definitely didn't happen. Let's hop in as we've got an English mirror between Amerikanski in the red, Mr. State himself, and then, of course, Sabinski in the blue. It is the one and only Beastyqt. And oh, look. Oh, these guys understand. They know how to use a customizing menu. Look at how sexy that is. Guys, it's... Okay, now I know how you're feeling. It has been like 8 months since release, but look at the upsides. We got that. Hell yeah. And we get these two playing on Cauldron. Cauldron, the map that was just featured in the weeklies for the Road to Red Bull Wololo. Likely to make a return. But first of all, we have to make a return to this pond being a controversial point of contest between the two. Two differing approaches as well. State moving 5 villages out their short bows. Beasty with the worst choice here in comparison, because he's going to be exposed at this. This was not the way. This was the way to lose a villager and have idle time. So Beasty will learn very quickly that in the English matchup, you don't run 1 villager. You run 5. And if your opponent runs 5, you run 6. If your opponent runs 6, you run 7. Are we learning basic count, or am I just giving you the counters when you're playing English? It simply is that simple. I love to see both these fighting tooth and nail over that central pond. Like, we already had this highlighted by B on the weekend. He feels that being able to get a dock down on the central area is a very powerful element. That's why we saw him stomping people right in the groin over and over again, playing as the Deli on this map. But I actually think there is some validity behind English for this exact play. Yeah, you can say farms can be really good, but there's a delay getting to them, whereas you get onto this straight away, 1 food a second, feels really good. You can even think about going for a dock afterwards. At the very least, you set up an outpost here, and English are, of course, one of those civs that gets multiple value points out of the outpost, not just a defense point, not just a safe point, but also an attack speed buffer alongside the kind of normie crap everyone else gets. And this ain't your normie crap if the English ain't in the game. It's the short bow exchange, and the scouts are making the difference. Bad trades for Beasty. Snipes one down, but look how many villages he's brought out for this. More coming. Stay is pulling even more. Okay. War of the Roses, ladies and gentlemen. Another villager goes down who tried to snipe the scouts out, but this is just bad trades all around for Beasty. Oh, I'm liking this one. This one is fun. Both of them have got villagers queued, so at least they're not going to miss out on any production there. But, man, State played him like a fiddle, brought more at first, and then is able to double down with what he's got left. And, you know, that delay, that hesitation out of Beasty cost him dearly, but now he realizes he would be behind, so now he's going to recommit with even more villagers. 9 on the front this time. State, of course, still not setting up an outpost. Maybe his biggest sin yet. Could have set one up on the central island, but a greedy boy. A greedy boy with limited vision who will not know about this outpost going up. Beasty might get an opportunity to recover his game. In fact, he pulled everyone. There are only 2 people back at base gathering just enough food to ensure that he doesn't stop producing villages. And oh boy, this is where it's going to get messy for State. Reacts a little bit slow there. Will lose 1 villager on the exit. A second one might be going down. Oh my God. State. I mean, maybe if he min-maxed that and pulled the injured villager away, that would have been worthwhile. But at the end, he is pushed back. Beasty now with the villager lead. Man, this is getting spicy. This is getting creative. I feel like this has actually been one of the most enjoyable elements of watching AoE4 evolve in the last 2 to 3 months. Is, if we're being real about this, I'd say week after week, month after month, the early mid-game has been getting a lot more aggressive. And, you know, some people look at this and roll their eyes, but I actually find it quite enjoyable. Compared to what? The alternative old build of both players are English and they just get Longbows and they don't really interact. This is pretty interesting because it's high risk, high reward plays. And the reason they make these plays is because of this fish. You know, if this was deer or something like that, no one would be out here. But fish is such a value point. 1 food a second. That's 60 food a minute compared to sheep being at 40 food a minute. Even if you get on your farms, it doesn't even compare to this because, you know, in the feudal age, you know, you'll get your hands on that 20% increase, which of course we aren't in feudal yet. And even with that 20% increase, like, you do the maths on it. farms are a 0.75 food. It's not as good as shoreline fish. In fact, you don't exceed shoreline fish until you go up to Imperial. Kind of nuts to think about. But the value really does speak for itself. And now State will race up ahead. Not with a lot of villagers here, but I'm not expecting a lot out of Beasty to be committed to this. But the difference is Beasty will have the long-term fishing available to him unless State can sneak back out on the dock. The problem is with that outpost already being there, it's just not feasible. By the way, the reason why he double pulled on the villagers and brought everyone pretty much to the front line is like he's in for a penny, in for a pound at that stage. You can't half-ass this anymore. Because he lost both of his scouts, he either has to sacrifice villager production to build more scouts, which are more pricey than villagers anyway, and he doesn't have enough food, or he needs to get frontal here, he needs to get an outpost down, and he needs to get all this food to play catch-up. The beautiful thing about the way Beasty done it, when he caught State off guard because State had lost one of his scouts and the other one had gone running about, it allowed him to get that fair snipe to open up the fight. And as a result, he was able to take that eco lead in both the villager count and now the numbers coming out from these departments. You can see the difference there. State looking baby level in comparison right now. He's playing on the deer. Love this play out of State. This has been getting more popular with the English because, for comparison, we talked about the food rates on fish. Like, you don't get as good on the farms until you're up at Imperial. With the deer, it's a little bit more competitive. Sheep or farms would be 0.75, but this is 0.83. Now, if you do your maths in your head quickly, you'll realize that if you actually just start dropping farms and feudal, it's better than deer. The problem is the investment. It's going to be 37 wood per farm, whereas each of these deer stacks for 350 food worth will entertain 8 villages around them. So like it's a lot more efficient to do this if you're going for a very quick castlage timing. And I think that's the goal now for State. After he's lost central fish, he's got 2 choices. He can either spam a crap ton of Longbow to fight center and force Beasty to engage, or he goes for castlage. And Beasty himself is going for that castlage. So it might be to State's advantage to now just spam Longbows. And I wonder if he's scouted this out yet. He has been wrapping around the area, but he hasn't quite snooped in and seen what is being built up. Abbey of Kings suggests it's going to be castle. Like 95% of the time when someone builds an Abbey of Kings, is simply to get a castle age timing quicker and then efficiently use knights. The 5% where it's not that, it's because you're on the defensive, you're maybe using horsemen to raid, and you can keep bringing them in and over time healing up. But that's a very pocketed strategy, and I think it has negligible returns simply because you want to keep horsemen high tempo out in the field. And you don't tend to build up to enough horsemen that you can rotate 2 different groups. The cool thing about knights is you go up to 4, 6 different knights. You can have 3 dive into the opponent's economy while the other 3 are at home healing. That's the beauty of it. And that's the strength. That's the strength that PC is going to be looking towards. Tech up is now complete. State did get the edge. And it is bringing the horsemen as well. Love to see this. It's actually going to be 1 stable double archery range worth out of the council hall. The villager now being pulled to the front line, needs to get that outpost up. Longbows are going to move in. That's going to force Beasty back. Beasty showing respect, but not for long. This could easily turn into a galley, folks. And once you have the galley, that's going to stop these outposts going up in uncomfortable locations. But you need to build it now. And here it comes. 40 seconds away. State. If you don't build that outpost now, it's too late. It's actually too late. He's going to lose it. So as long as Beasty isn't reading chat or thanking people for subs when this galley comes out, he will be able to snipe. But State makes sure he can't. Yes! My boy! That's what I want to see. Das Amerikanski is gut. Just enough build speed to beat the galley out. And now when that galley comes out, it can easily be sniped down, because remember, you get the bonus damage from each of these shots. Just watch how quickly it will die. And remember, Beasty, you want to cancel this right now. He's pop capped. Oh, that's going to be a freebie. You won't even be able to kill the scouts quick enough. Here we go. Arrow slits aren't there, but the outpost should be able to reach. In fact, State needs to pull back. State will realize, gets away with the villagers just in time, or not. Ooh. Boy's living on the edge. Looks like you can see the problem, right? This is why I want BC to cancel it. It just doesn't do anything now, and it's already past the halfway mark towards dying. This doesn't get better either. In fact, he's building fishing boats. Beasty dog, we gotta talk. Because they aren't gonna get the fish for very long. Not with 5 people standing inside this outpost and arrow slits on the way. Now, the good news for Beasty is this does somewhat distract State. but I'm concerned about how Beasty is using this. That delay on retreating from the fishing line and the lack of like clear setup straight away, look how it slowed him down. Beasty, because he invested in the galley especially, has now stunted his growth, and instead State is the one who will reach castle first. I love the way he's played this. Longbow is adding in that extra bit of damage on the fishing boat. Galley. State. Okay. Not optimal. Fishing boat does get to live. But overall, State's very happy with this. Notice that he didn't build more longbowmen because he didn't want to slow down his timing. That's the critical difference here. Maybe the mistake you could say of Galley Boy Beasty here. He spent 360 resources on this unit, and this unit has done nothing. Truly, the only thing you could argue it's done is it's forced State to buy Arislets, which is 75 resources. Doesn't add up. It's not favorable. And on top of that, you even added a fishing boat and another 75 wood. You even went on the stone, interestingly enough, just to get more outposts up to defend yourself. And now as a result, because you're so busy turtling up, spending all these resources on outposts and palisades because you feared that State would raid you with horsemen, now your true fear is on the way. It's Castle Age, and it's going to be a sizable lead for State that will allow him to push out 4, possibly 5 knights before you're even ready to get a counter in place. Looks like Arislets is finally going to start coming out for this outpost as well. In fairness, though, like, if you get another scout out here, you can snipe this down. Right now, the scout is busy, though. He's checking what's happening on the stone line. He can see that it's not a secondary TC. He knows it's only for static defenses. Meanwhile, Beasty, because he's stockpiled too much wood, notice he sets up the stables ahead of time. This is absolutely fine. Optimally, you wouldn't have had to have done this because you just would have had more food and gold being gathered. But realistically, if you find yourself in this situation, use that wood. Don't let it just float there, dead resource. Prep yourself accordingly. Oh, I love this out of Beasty as well. Is this intentional? This might be intentional. So what he's done here, like, it could be a misclick, but I think it could also be intentional in that he could be saving a quick finish to the stables just in case he sees he's outmassed in knights. If he's outmassed in knights, realistically, you can't go for them. But it looks like, okay, ignore me trying to be too big brain here. It just was a simple misclick. It was a possibility, though, because think about it this way. If there's like 4 or 5 knights out in the field and your eco is weaker, which it will be because your opponents will fish, it might make more sense to build spears and just try to prolong the game. Maybe look for an eco boom of some kind. As opposed to this, where you're now prepping for stable units, you're pushing knights, but if we look on the other side, we can see 2 more knights already queued, first one already coming out. Like, this is going to be probably a free 4-knight advantage for State before Beasty gets his first in the field. Wall's at least coming out in the meantime. Scout revealing that State is on his way in. Looks like the horsemen are losing out to wildlife. Good thing they weren't recruited to deal with the village account. But this is going to slow down Beasty substantially. He's got the deer for the time being, but if he can't start to combat this soon, keep in mind the berries won't be accessible, and he will need to go into a farm transition that will burden his economy. Because right now, not only do you have to get that 37 wood set up, but right now there's already a higher food demand in place, in that you have 2 town centers now producing villages every 20 seconds. First knights come out. State. Not the best use of the first knight here. Beasty is 3 villages behind, so not too bad overall. Needs to be careful to keep that knight count because he should have scouted what's happened in the base. Long term, if they don't get towards this kind of like overwhelming fight in favor of State, this will favor Beasty because this Abbey of Kings. Abbey of Kings is going to allow him to be very efficient with his knights in comparison. And that's why this fishing economy is so important for State. Knight's just looking for a fight. I'm going to get it free though. Pulls out the attack speed aura. Beasty, min-maxing, pulls away just in time, as will State. Number of advantage still remain with State, so we'll take an overall good fight here. Love that little play out of Beasty. Notice the detail there where he tried to pull just out of tower range, so he had the attack speed, and State didn't. This is why State would benefit from torching this down. This outpost is a danger to him. He needs to manipulate the map through aura. The more you strip this away, the more areas you can take good fights in. Typical Beasty. Wants his relic goodies. See if he gets them for free. It looks like State has already been a crafty bugger about this. Outpost set up on the left flank to make sure it's not a free relic. And remember, we are in Castle Age, so that doesn't need to be an Arislets upgrade. That can indeed be a Spring Alden with the amount of stone saved. It's like it could end up being so. Needs to get a little bit more here. He actually just sells for the Arislets. A little bit surprised by that. Realistically, like, Arislets should be able to do the business against a slow-moving monk. Oh, the boom ship Beasty! Oh, no! Stay! You greedy son of a gun. He waited so long to go for it. Beasty was able to come in with the beautiful play. He wipes the Knight Battalion. What a turnaround. And now Beasty says, it's my turn to have some fun with your base. And the timing could make it awkward as well. Stay in the middle of building his lineup further because he needs now to replace so many lost knights there. That's 5 going down to that boom ship. What a trade for Beasty. And now more boom ships on the way. In fact, State shouldn't even be here anymore. He should know what can come again. And it is on its way again. In 20 seconds, another boom ship comes out. That could easily be 5 villages at least being targeted and taken out. Oh my god. Meanwhile, clash in State's base. Beasty, maybe not the most opportune place to take a fight, but remember, even if the aura is there for State, as long as you get these units away, even on 10% HP, you can fix them. That's the power you get with the Abbey of Kings. And now, looking to be a king on this pond. State, he backs away just in time. Beasty looking like someone who's got the plague right now. Come on, it's not infectious, I swear. Beasty. I love how he tries to like feign ignorance for a sec there. State will make sure he doesn't double down on the losses from explosive ships. And Beasty will probably give up on the strat now. He realizes he's got the value he was ever going to get. Knight right in. Will snipe the Monk. Easy freebie. State has recovered the Knight count in favor of him, but remember that Beasty is healing up. He's got Medicare. This guy is like 19th century England. This guy is playing NHS got introduced England. Very different style here. In State needs sheer numbers and good positioning to win a fight, because if you engage line on line and then Beasty peels away, he's going to come back in about a minute's time with all those injured knights being full health again. More mills. State, of course, trying to delay the farm transition as long as is possible. Meanwhile, already on the way for Beasty. Wololo's ambitious. Still no relics gained for State. Meanwhile, Le Bleu already has his first in bank. Needs to get his hands on some more, but can't easily get that one left we talked about. Knight fight in the center. State with the attack speed aura. Needs to use it well here. Needs to pinch around the back of them if he wants a good trade. But every time you spend that time running around the back, it's time you're being hit. And that's the problem right now. If State doesn't have a ridiculous sum of knights, they're going to just keep getting injured like this. And they'll flop quickly. It's why he's so hesitant to pinch around the back, even when he has the numbers. It's just too much damage. Oh my, oh my. Beasty has created that funnel point now, that choke point, has access to his secondary gold vein, so isn't going to run out of the resources for knights anytime soon. Love this play on the western flank by State. Sets up another outpost to cover both of the gold veins, knowing that's exactly what Beasty will eventually need. Speaking of things that Beasty wants more than needs here, is moving out for that relic. And here come the arrow slits. And this is what I was talking about, like the sprawl might be better. It's going to be tight, actually. I think he just about snipes it on the edge here. Oh, one more shot. There it is. Gets him down. But we'll now find his outpost going down. Nice raid in from Beasty, getting control of the area, accessing the berries as well. Because remember, although he's setting up farms, the transition was delayed. The night push, however, was very demanding. And it's 140 food per night. Talk about demanding in many ways. State using this info he just gained to flank around the side, but nice maneuver away by Beasty. Good vision control. Notice what he's done here. Outpost outside his base on flanking points. He doesn't want to be exposed to night raids. State feeling heavily discounted still. Needs something else, a 1-up, and it looks like that 1-up he's going to go for is a sneaky spear transition. Beasty will not expect this, nor will he have the answer to it, because remember, when you go for the Abbey of Kings, yes, it bolsters the power of the knights, but it nerfs your transition power. If State had this happen to him, he already has a secondary unit type he can build, the Longbows. Something that Beasty will wish he had. Especially if State hides this number until he goes up to, say, 20 or 30 spears. Right out by Beasty. State. This is the other reason why he goes for this, by the way. This is the reason he needs it so badly. If he hangs around on just knights, he knows he eventually loses these fights more and more because the damage, the dents that he can't repair. And that's what makes the spear play so much better than it at first seems for State. It's multifaceted. Raid on the side. Beasty moving in. State is shifting the spearman across now, so that is going to reveal his hand. Good move by Beasty. He had been defensive for too long and he knew it. He needs to get info on what's happening in his opponent's base. Wololo. Okay. That was almost incredibly good out of State. I like the idea behind that. A very early Wololo, so Beasty quickly checks, wouldn't see anything, and then maybe still runs in. But quick reaction out of Beasty, and he's found his way in. State. It's about to get some Idolico. It's not going to make him happy for sure. Wraparound farms over here just being set up. Didn't complete this walls. Whoopsie daisy, State. Sir? You better back away. One or two more villagers getting pinched, and Beasty looking to find his way out. And look at that damage. Look at that damage right now that's been done. Oh, all that diving for 2 or 3 villagers. So much damage to Knights. Nah, dude. Just go back to town. Get yourself a health potion. As long as you don't lose those Knights, that is. Sprint replacement might make this a little bit cumbersome for him. Oh my god, what? Is that double sprinkled? Oh, Beasty don't care. He'll lose a few Knights, but look what he's doing. He's hoarding right now. Whew. Those numbers, actually, look at those numbers. The amount that he oversaved is kind of incredible to look at there, right? Like, I'm kind of thinking that maybe he got a little bit too sucked into what was happening with the Knights. It won't hurt him too much, though. He can keep up Knight production, and soon he's going to exceed everything that State has. And this is just like the awkward part. Think about the situation differently. If State hadn't ran around his base, he's running into Beasty's base right now with spears and knights. But instead, not only does Beasty buy time to complete his tech up while his opponent is away from his base, he also gets the wall up to delay it further. So yes, State will have a timing here, but the window of opportunity is so slim, is so small. The only move that will work is a keep drop, which is why the villagers are here. Outpost to start with, and then with about 1,000 stone gathered, this should be a keep looking to be plopped right in the middle of the farming district, if anything. He might look deeper, though. In fact, he's going to settle for one right here. Next to 2 farm areas, the monastery as well. A staging point, a safe point. A little bit of idle time, but underway. Knight's pushing in, forcing a fight, because he knows Beasty is healing behind this, and the spears mean that Beasty cannot fight. Beasty needs that transition we talked about, or he might just be DOA, dead on arrival. Because although you have arrived in Imperial Age, you need something more. Wololo comes out. Forces State back, gets out of range just in time. Almost baits himself back in. Another relic. Beasty's like, this one's broken, this one doesn't work. How about this one? Nah, that's not the way it works, buddy. You picked out too many, and now you've got picked. And State, despite the fact it looked like Beasty was making him dance to his tune, he's just fully recovered this game. Flood through of Knights and Spearmen, forcing a fight that Beasty is not ready for. Still hasn't even got the upgrade coming through. Still waiting 10 seconds. This is the power of the timing attacks. When you see your opponent is on the clock like this, when he goes for Imperial, there's a gap. There's an exploitable advantage you can take, and that's exactly what State has done here. And continues to do so. Spreads out. Knights finally upgraded for Beasty, but barely any left to be upgraded. Now the short bow's in the base. Beasty is in full panic mode. And State, it looks like he's being a clown with his villagers, but he's just waiting for the stone to gather. He wants another keep in here. Behind that, State now also getting all 3 sacred sites. Remarkable plays back to back to back out of the American. Now he's going to take away Beasty's trinkets, make sure he has none of that gold. Stone almost gathered to the amount required to go into another keep. Trebuchet out in the meantime from Beasties is building the Wingard Palace armies. But this army looks pathetic. Not really at the power spike he was looking for. State, careful boy. This is a little bit ambitious. State! Oh no, he doesn't have the Knights in position or the Spearmen. Backs away now, cancels the keep before he starts constructing it. Shift on the backside, needs to get behind his front line if anything here. Beasty looking like he could gain some momentum or pinch some space back. State, is he lost in this one? He is! State, he can't get a keep good enough to end it. His knight count has been reduced to rubble. His racks are too far away to bolster this play, and as a result, Beasty will hold and take the dub. Okay, that was a fun end to that game. The issue for State is if he doesn't dive, if he doesn't continue the fight with the Spim and the Knights, he can't get enough momentum there. He has to shrink Beasty's army to pretty much 0. If there's even 8 Knights left and they reach Elite, they'll do a lot of damage. The issue you have to keep in mind for State is multifaceted problems here. So for a start, he doesn't have his production on the front line. He's just rushed keeps. He doesn't have 5 racks, 4 stables. They're everywhere else. They're on the other side of the map. On top of that, do you guys remember what State was doing for food for most of this game? Do you remember? It's fishing. Fishing doesn't last forever. And I think that's why you'll find State GG this out. If he gets that keep up, damn, he stays in, feels good. He's got double keep, locking him in. But losing his army, as well as losing access to the free food, needing a transition to farms fully at that stage is what cripples State. That's why he was on the clock. He needed that second keep. If he was able to get that snuck next to the TC, different game. But looking back at this, I don't blame the GG from State here. I would say the problem for State is that he didn't gather more stone or sell for the stone. If he'd done that, he could have got the keep up quick enough while his army was distracted on the TC. That discombobulation, that lack of the next step is why he calls GG, because understandably at that point, when you see there's 10 plus Knights upgraded to Elite status and you've wiped your own for the dive, there's no comeback from that. It's GG, and as a result, State will give it over. But what a fun game to watch nonetheless, dude. Cauldron, it's funky. You could maybe argue if the fishing is too powerful and too enticing, but I actually don't mind it for this very reason. Yes, the fishing can be seen as too powerful, very enticing, alluring you to the dark side, but the dark side is not well lit, as is appropriate. It's away from your base, away from safety. It encourages you to take risky plays, and that's what I loved about this game here. From start to finish, this was risky plays throughout, and it made it brilliant.